Hey guys, and welcome to the Module 3 projects explanation video. In this video, I'm going to be explaining what's going to be due and just going over the little activities that you'll have. So you'll notice here that you've got these activities that you'll be completing and you'll be graded on in this module. They are in a little bit of a different order here. Not sure why it's doing that, but we want to start with the income statement. Now, remember when you click on income statement and you click on the rubric, it opens the rubric up, but there's also that instructional sheet in there. So what you'll be doing is you'll be opening up Excel. You actually have to do this in Excel. You cannot do this in Google Sheets because Google Sheets does not have cell styles, and I am requiring cell styles. You'll want to type in all the information and then you'll want to apply what the boxes say first. So if you're looking at the coffee cup, you want to apply a title cell style, and then you want to merge and center that from column A1 to D1. Then you'll type in the next two lines. You want both of those to be a heading 4 style. And again, you want to merge and center each one of those lines over the entirety of the data. If you don't remember what cell styles are, go back to the basics page. That was covered in basics. Then you want to do the total revenue. Notice total revenue, total expenses, and net income are all right aligned in the cell. Even though it looks that like these are merged and centered, they are not. That is the good cell style that's been applied. So you'll want to do the good cell style on the total revenue line. You'll want to do the bad cell style on the total expenses and the neutral cell style on the net income / loss. Then you'll pick up with the instructions below. And by the way, notice that currency has been applied to all of the dollar amounts there with 0 decimal places. In row 9, you're going to enter a formula that calculates the total revenue for each year. So what formula can you use to total that up? And don't forget about the fill handle. Then in row 16, you're basically doing the same thing. How do you total that up? And then in row 17, I want you to find the net income or loss. Net income would be when they basically bring more money in. Loss would be when they lose money. And so basically you're going to subtract the total expenses from the total revenue. You're taking the expenses out of the revenue. You want to format those values as currency with 0 decimal places to match all of the data on the page. You're going to add a header with your name right aligned. You're going to display grid lines and row and column headings. Again, go back to basics if you don't know how to do that. And then you want to display formulas in the cells instead of values and change the width as necessary. Now, one thing you'll notice when you display formulas is that the dollar signs will go away because it's displaying raw data. I want to see that you can display the formulas, but after I look at your formulas, I am going to change that back. I am going to unshow the formulas and I'm going to be able to see that currency side. So even though you're turning in and it looks like there's no currency, it's there. I'm just going to revert it back when I get it. Now, you'll look at the rubric to make sure you're doing everything. Did you have the currency, the alignments, the headings, the merged cells, including the styles? Did you have the sum used for total revenue and total expenses? For net income, did you do the right subtraction? Did you include the header right aligned? And did you display grid lines, headings, and formulas? If you did, you'll get full credit. All right, next up is going to be the boy bands activity. And again, you'll want to open up the instructional sheet as well as the rubric. So for the boy bands, after you learn about charts, you can actually do this in either Google Sheets or Excel. You'll want to enter the data that applies here. You'll want to add commas to the numbers. You'll want to bold your headings. And then you're going to sort the worksheet so that the bands and their corresponding data are listed in descending order by views. Now, that doesn't mean you don't include the years column. What key do you use to select 2 columns without selecting the middle? That's how you get around that. If you don't include this middle column, I will take points off. You're going to produce a column chart on the active sheet that displays the views for each of the bands. So you're going to make a column chart using that data that you just sorted. Again, I don't want the years on there, just the views. And you need to include a title, a legend, and axes label, which you should do on every chart, whether I ask for it or not. You're going to manually scale the y-axis to have a minimum value of 5 million. Remember, don't include the commas when you're typing that in. And then on a new worksheet or, just clicking on a new little tab, clicking on the plus sign at the bottom, you are going to copy this data, put it on a new sheet in your workbook, and then you're going to sort it in descending order by year. So we're going to look at it on the other side. You're going to produce a 3D column chart on that sheet where you copied that data over that displays the years established. Again, you want to create a header that right aligns your name on both pages. You will have to manually put it in on both pages. You want to make sure everything fits on one page, and then of course you'll save it and you'll turn it in. If we go back and we look at the rubric, you'll see that all of those things are outlined. Notice even if I don't ask for the title, legend, and axes labels, I expect them. I expect to see both charts sorted. So again, looking there, you can see how you would be graded for that activity. All right, cookie cutter part 1 and 2. So this is one activity. I've just split it in twos just to kind of make it a little bit easier. So this first one is focusing on the if function. It can be done in Excel or Google. You're going to open it up and you're going to type the information in that you see here, applying currency where it belongs. In cell A14, you'll notice that's below peanut butter. You're going to type the label, which just means words, cost of cookies. Don't actually type the word label. You'll format that as right aligned and italic. You're going to enter a formula that uses the function to calculate the total cost of each cookie. So again, what function can we use to total these columns? Don't forget to use the fill handle. Then I want you to add a new column called sugar for sugar cookies. And that should go between oatmeal and peanut butter. And I want you to enter the correct data based on the other cookies. So what's in sugar cookies? Butter, sugar, eggs, vanilla, and flour, nothing else. So if chocolate chips, peanut butter, and oatmeal, it's 50 cents for butter, then for the sugar cookies, it's also going to cost 50 cents. So you'll type that in. For sugar, it's going to cost us $1. For eggs, 50 cents. For vanilla, 75. And for flour, $1. For everything else, we'll put 0 because we're not using it. All right, then in cell A15, you're going to enter the label menu price. And this is where you're going to use the if function. Okay, so if the cost of cookies is less than or equal to $4, the price is 1.5 times the cost and 2 times the cost when it is greater than $4. So go back to that if function example. If that doesn't make sense, break it down into pieces. What's the question we're asking? What would it do if it was true? What would it do if it's false? Remember, you only have one conditional clause. All right, then in cell A16, you'll enter the label profit. You'll format that as right aligned with italics. Enter formulas that calculate the profit for each cookie by subtracting the total cost of each cookie from the menu price. So if the cookie cost you this much and you made this much, how much is the profit? I want you to see how cell references work and how they can change very easily because you reference the cell instead of typing the numbers in. So at the end, I want you to change sugar from $1 to $2 for all of your cookies, and then butter from 50 cents to 80 cents for all of your cookies. And again, notice how all those things change automatically. You're going to create a header that right aligns your name, a footer that centers the date, display grid lines and row and column headings. And if you're ready on that same day, go ahead and go to part 2. If you want to take a break and then come back to part 2, you can. I split it up because the if function is pretty difficult, so it just makes it a little bit easier. So now that you've got your data all together, you're going to create a pie chart that displays the ingredients and their percentage of their cost of the cookies. So basically, we're looking at the ingredients in the cookie and what is the percentage of what we're paying for those. There will be a chart type that will give you that percentage option, so you don't actually have to do the percents yourself. You just highlight the data and Excel does the rest. You're going to display formulas. You're going to change it to landscape orientation, and then you're going to turn that in. And again, you're turning it in one time. I don't want it turned in twice. Again, look over the rubric here to make sure that you're meeting all requirements. All right, last but not least is your VLOOKUP. So again, you'll want to open up the rubric as well as the instructional sheet. Notice there is an additional attachment. This is the actual Excel document you will start from. So download that Excel document, and then it says to open that sports cell spreadsheet. You're going to sort the worksheet and the equipment in their corresponding alphabetical order. Then to calculate the selling price, you're going to use the VLOOKUP, and you're going to put the following VLOOKUP table into your spreadsheet. And remember the rules that apply for the left column. Then use your VLOOKUP function to calculate what price percentage you get. Okay, that's the first step. Then you have to do an additional 2 steps in the same formula. It's not in the VLOOKUP function, it's outside of it, but it's one long function using order of operations. So now that you know the percentage using the VLOOKUP, multiply that by the original price so that you can figure out how much of a discount you're getting, and then subtract that from the discount to find the total price. You'll do one more VLOOKUP table and one more VLOOKUP function. That's an easier one. That's not doing the multiplication and subtraction. You'll make sure everything fits entirely. You have your header that right aligns. Everything fits to one page. You're displaying grid lines and row and column headings. And I go back and look at the rubric to make sure you've done everything. And that's it. I'll be back for a college project.